Halloween, who Kamae ke helium, Homa cow cow, a holowaku.
I'm very fortunate to know three important people. America Venefukui, Pilahi Baki, Samuel Liakalai Knight. Pillai says, do it now, for there will be no more. Kavenapukui would say, do it for the children, for it would live forever. Sam Lia would say, sing. Sing for the children. Sing for the children. The all primary concern is that change will come. And I could see that myself, as the way things are going. But I will always remember what they told me, and that's what I'm doing today. Singing the songs of old and songs that they shared with me, and all the things that I want to do in my lifetime.
When Eddie Kamae plays in clubs, as he still does at age 83, he carries on an oral tradition that is thousands of years old. With every song he performs, the thoughts and ideas of old Hawaii revive and live again. Long ago he realized that this music was not just entertainment, that it came from a deeper source.
Aloha, this is the making of the Eddie Kamae Songbook, and we are here with what I would call our music part of the family, right? Folks that have been participating in the creation of the songbook, working with the music and creating a variety of arrangements for bands and for actually students and instructors as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each of you to say your full name so that we have it on tape. Oh, I forgot to add that today is Monday, December the 31st, and it is 1:30 p.m. So what you're going to do is you're going to say your name, your full name, and what you do and your connection to the Eddie Kamae Songbook. And we're going to start with you, John.
So my name is John Magnuson. I lead the music program at UH West Oahu, and I am part of the Humanities Division. We were, I think, this project has been going on for quite a while. I was first a transcriber, part of the transcription team, which took recordings of the mele and notated them note by note, rhythm by rhythm, word by word, into a usable, more or less. And we can talk about what more or less actually means. Yeah. And then I became a performer in the band. Actually, this gentleman's band here, because he had this fabulous idea, Chad Kamae, Dr. Chad Kamae. He had this fabulous idea to create band arrangements that were attached to the Eddie Kamae Songbook.
Okay, well, that's a good entree into me asking Dr. Chad Kamae to introduce himself. And we'll talk a little bit more about the band arrangement project.
So I'm Dr. Chadwick Kamae. I am the director of the Na'ulu Winds here at the University of Hawaii West Oahu, but my regular full-time job is the director of bands at Pearl City High School. And it's been a great project to be a part of. There's been a lot of desire for more Hawaiian music for bands in Hawaii, and we really tried to fill a need with that. I mean,
So Chad and John, tell me, how did this idea come? Because John has actually been a part of the Eddie Kamae Songbook development, since we came up with the idea, because we needed to get all of the music scored. How did this idea of the band happen? Do you recall?
Well, I gotta give credit to where credit is due is meeting Lilinoy Andrews. Lilinoy and I got to meet, and we were talking about music, and she had mentioned the project, and I said, hey, this is, we really need more Hawaiian music for bands. And she said this would be a great place to start off at. And then we talked with John, and John got us connected through all of this,
Right.
and it's been great.
Had you talked to Lilinoy about this? Okay, everybody knows that this is Myrna Kamae, right? So had Lilinoy shared something about doing a band, or how did that come up for you?
Well, I didn't hear that it was Lilinoy that had told Chad until Chad told me.
Oh.
Because I just thought they had come up with the idea, and of course they ran with the idea, which was fantastic, and it's turned into such an incredible project.
So when you first heard about the proposal to take a handful of the mele from the songbook and arrange it for bands, what was your initial thought?
I thought that was a great idea because Eddie, my husband Eddie Kamae, who's a composer, a musician, and filmmaker, and we had the Hawaiian Legacy Foundation, where we had done Hawaiian cultural documentaries, CDs, all kinds of music, but to have it come alive in a band arrangement and to be into the schools was just beyond anything I would have dreamed of. And of course, as I've said to all of you, Eddie loved band music. It was every time the bands would come marching by, that's where he was. So he would have loved this project.
So what was the next step that the both of you took to actualize the band project as part of the songbook?
So I think we met, and I had a lot of questions because I myself grew up playing violin in an orchestra. I was in the Hawaii Youth Symphony. I sang in the choir. I don't play anything that you blow, or buzz. And perhaps that was a good thing because I was asking, all of these questions that then we could answer for you, Chancellor, when we came to you for help to actually make this project fly.
Well, what kind of questions was he asking you?
Well, what kind of ensemble did we want to make it into, and what kind of what levels we were trying to aim for, and about the number of pieces and what mele we were trying to make you get transcribed. So there's a lot of questions. I think the biggest thing for me was just how to make it as authentic as possible. How can we get Hawaii people, homegrown Hawaii composers and musicians to make this music come alive? We wanted to make sure that we kept this within the family, I guess, within the islands.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and so you did come up with your proposal, you did present the proposal, and we were able to fund the project, to commission the project for four mele, 4 or 5? Four. Okay, so how did you come up with the mele? I mean, where did you start, and then how did you come up with the songs? How did that happen? Did you get a group together? I mean,
I think one of the songs that I really wanted to do was Reed's. He composed the Pauakalani, Ku'upua i Pauakalani, and from there I think that was one of the songs that I wanted to have. And I think you had said Hana Keoki was one that Eddie really liked, so we made sure that we had that on. And there was a couple of more that we.
Yeah, and I think especially Lili'u was the composer of both of those, and Ku'upua i Pauakalani played such a central role to Uncle Eddie's development as a musician who embraced his own music.
But not all songs can be band songs. Yes? No?
Depends on the creativity of the arrangers, and that's why
Oh,
we have
okay, that's why
brought
we
the
have
best
the
arrangers on the island. And Todd Yukamoto's Heiko Vai Pio, that was one Lillinois strongly wanted, and because she's the genesis of this, we said, yeah, let's do this one.
So the selection of the songs was really a collaborative kind of back and forth, right? This is special to Eddie, special to the Hawaiian music scene, special to a particular person. That's how you came, that was easy?
And we also had an email exchange, the four of us actually, where Auntie Myrna, you
guided?
Made a couple of.
Well, they made really good choices, and I was able to say yes to every one of them because each of them, and it really too depended on whether they felt that they would be good songs to work with for the band because they're the experts in that area. So I think it was a pretty easy process to come up with it since you guys just made it easy for me to make suggestions and also to come up with them yourself.
So let's introduce our arrangers, our composers here, right? So we'll start with Reed first.
Sure. My name is Reed Ishikawa. I'm a percussionist with the Royal Hawaiian Band. But in my spare time, I compose band music for, I guess, like some of the different schools in Hawaii and whatnot. I think in 2023, I was writing for a few of my band director friends, one of who mentioned what I was doing to Chad. And I got an email sometime in May or so, kind of explaining the genesis of the project, like, hey, we're trying to make Hawaiian band arrangements. Would you be interested in being a part of this? So I jumped on it immediately. At the time, I didn't realize quite how big this was going to flourish into, but it's been really cool to see. So I ended up doing the arrangement for Paukalani, Lou's Paukalani.
Was that like the first, when you said that, it just gave me chicken skin. I remember that.
And Star Kalahiki sang it.
Right.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Right.
As have all of the songs been, but that was a wonderful beginning.
Let's have Todd introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Todd Yukamoto. I'm a saxophonist and arranger with the Royal Hawaiian Band, and that's my full-time job.
And how did you get connected to this group? I was going to say motley, but this wonderful group of...
That's okay.
That's not far off.
Well, Dr. Kamae was a former student of mine at the university where I teach saxophone, and he contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be part of this project that they were doing Hawaiian Mele for band programs, and that they were planning to offer it free to anybody that wants to download it. And he just left it as a blank slate and told me that your arrangement will be about an advanced high school wind ensemble to perhaps college students. So that was pretty much all the directions he gave me, and that's what I had to work with.
Now I'm guessing that this wasn't the first time you've arranged Hawaiian music, right? So I'd like to ask, what did you bring everyone together before you started to work on these pieces, or what other kinds of preparation did you do for your four arrangers to do their work?
I think for the first thing was we just need we've heard. I played some of Todd's arrangements. I've seen Reed's arrangements, and I knew that they would work for our bands. And that was probably the biggest thing is getting these people. They're so busy and they're so talented. They're always in demand. So getting this on their schedule was the most difficult part for us. And thankfully they agreed to do it. And then we had a meeting at Chozenji at the dojo up in Kalihi, where it kind of all started. That's where I met Lilinoy, and going back and seeing the videotape of Eddie in the dojo with the Sons of Hawaii playing, it was just a really chicken skin moment, knowing that this is kind of coming full circle. So we had our meeting there, talking through, some of Eddie's life and what Eddie would have liked to have seen through these things, and getting them just connected to Myrna. And we had that meeting, and it was a great meeting, and that's where we kind of kicked everything off.
Now you had other arrangers. Could you just mention their names and the mele that they arranged as
So
well?
we have Stephen Agasa. He did Hanakeoki. He is also with the Royal Hawaiian Band, but he also teaches at Moalua Middle School. So he's very well versed in middle school band.
Hanakeoki, take 4, measure 39, rolling.
And then the last person we have, and this is going to be premiered this spring. Pualilia is going to be composed by a new composer. His name is Justin Park. He is a graduate of Kamehameha Schools 2020. So right now I think he is at Berkeley. He's at Berkeley right now studying. So, this is one of the things that I was hoping that would come out of this project, is that we have, like a Native Hawaiian composer and arranger that's willing to work and able to, arrange and compose for bands in the future.
Right. Now, you all composed your different mele. Was for the same level? Todd, you had mentioned advanced high school, perhaps college. Were they all given that instruction? I know that there's skill levels at which you compose at.
Steven's one, Hanakeoki, came, he really wanted, because he works at the middle school, wanted to aim for a middle school ensemble, so that not only high schools and college could play, but younger ensembles could play too. So he did a really great job of facilitating that we have a piece within that ability level. And then Reed's one.
On the instructions, I remember seeing keep it within a grade 3, grade 3.5. In the band world, there are certain classifications for difficulty through the use of grades. Correct me if I'm wrong. They vary from publisher to publisher, from group to group. It would be around, I wrote mine ideally for slightly more advanced middle school, maybe like a beginning high school group, somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah.
Wonderful. And?
Mine was,
the advanced?
The older, more experienced.
And then Justin?
Justin's one, yeah. Justin's one will be for about a grade 3 and a 3.5 also.
As well.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what you wanted, right? Band arrangements so that young people could play it. It's a nice entree, right, into more Hawaiian music played by Hawaii's bands, right? So, I kind of want to talk a little bit more about how you heard the music, how you felt, what were your thoughts in arranging it? Do you think you hit the mark, that you didn't hit the mark? And in order for us to have this conversation, to put you under the heat lamp, so to say, I would like to bring in, to join us, Ocean Kawili. So we'll go and get him right now and have him come in. And,
can I just mention?
Yes.
Can I just mention that it was just really great to know that. So Stephen Agasa, who teaches at Moalua Middle School, actually took his band arrangement of Hanakeoki to his own band and had them read through it. And
did they get to play it?
Yes.
Yeah, they did. And that's how we kind of tested it out, if it was at that level. And then it helped him to make any technical changes, right? That he needed
and not
to make.
that, I mean, he's excellent, so not that he needed to do that,
Yeah.
but just that, you know, to know that there is this,
Right.
you know, immediate,
Right.
immediate usability,
Right. Right.
which is really wonderful.
So we have just brought into the conversation Ocean Kawili, who used to play with Eddie, and Myrna has invited him here today so that he can talk a little bit more. We can talk a little bit more with him about the music that you had scored, arranged for the songbook. So Myrna, if you would introduce Ocean, that would be great.
Well, Ocean was always very close to Eddie, and after Eddie passed, it was really great for Ocean to have breakfast with me and to talk about the music and to open actually some ideas that I had not known before. For example, I hate to say this, but for 50 years I was married to Eddie, and I didn't realize that he tuned down a step. And so when he was playing, I never saw him really straining, you know, to play B flat like I would. And I thought, how did that happen? So I talked to Ocean one morning, and Ocean said, well.
Yeah, well, Eddie had a certain preference to the type of string that he liked to use, which was lute strings. It wasn't ukulele strings, it was lute strings. So he liked the tone, but more so the lute strings, besides the tone, couldn't be tuned to your normal pitch to the ukulele tuning because it would break. So because he liked the strings, he had to actually tune it down a step. So your G would be F, your C would be B flat, and so on and so forth. And, you know, as a lot of us growing up, you know, we want to play along with the records. And we're looking, why are they playing in this odd key that no one seems to play out of that until, you know, now you're actually sitting down and you're playing with him and you say, oh, that's the reason. And it wasn't until the conversation of why, and it would, you know, that's when we found out that he was using lute strings. That's why it was ukulele.
And then, then I realized that the one thing we hadn't done was ukulele chord charts. I mean, there were beautiful arrangements, but we needed the chord charts. So I asked Ocean if he would look at the arrangements and do the code, you know, those chord charts for us, for people like me that needed a lot of help. We're calling them the anti-Myrna versions.
Of the music. So how important is that to know when you're listening to the piece, when you're looking at the transcription of the piece? How important is that to you as a composer, as an arranger, as you're looking at that and trying to arrange it for a particular skill level for a band that has many different instruments in it? How important is knowing that or having that knowledge to you?
I think having the chords and the written melody is a help as an arranger, because we're not going to have to guess on everything what's going on. So it does make a big difference on getting started for arranging. That's my point of view on that.
It's helpful to have, especially for you know, when you're working with younger groups who maybe can't play the same notes or with the same tone that older students can. You don't want to make those chords too advanced, too crazy. It might not come out as well in the performance. But it definitely is a great starting point as a springboard to continue the arrangement in the pieces.
So when you were working on your different mele, so if you could once again share with Ocean the mele that you arranged, it would be also good to hear how you thought about the music and interpreting that for the particular, like, middle school, high school, university, and see, you know how that kind of jives with the way that you both think about Eddie's music, right?
Sorry, let me take that all in real quick. So I did the arrangement for Pawakalani, which I realized was a very important piece in Eddie's history when he came across it. And so when I read the text to the piece, Pawakalani, there's a lot of emotion behind it. It's part longing. It's kind of whimsical. Like Liliuokalani is encouraging the listener to guess which flower she's singing about from her garden in Pawakalani. And so I wanted to take the chords and the lyrics that were given, of the song, and kind of twist and turn a little bit to better reinforce some of the text. Maybe in some spots, a major chord sounds happy. Maybe in this particular spot, the text would kind of infer that Liliu is writing a little more like somberly or, just more longingly, change it to a minor chord, kind of not mess around, but alter some of the harmonies there. I do remember in one of the beginning drafts of the arrangement I was working on, I showed it to Chad and John. And originally I had planned for the ends of some of the musical phrases to use different chords than what was originally written, both from, say, like the Queen Songbook and the Eddie Kamae Songbook. And I thought it would be interesting to have these differences in cadences, we call them. But John kind of pointed out, I don't know if you recall this, we don't want to stray too far from the path, right? We want to do justice to the song. I don't think the same intent would be portrayed if we were to change it this much, something along those lines. And so that got me thinking a lot more about the relationship between the music that we write and what people might get out of it when they listen to it, when they encounter it, especially because some of these songs are so familiar to the people here, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no.
There was also an ukulele tuning motif that you introduced that was very much sort of it was a touch that was very deep. Yeah, beautiful.
I remember at our first meeting at Chosenji, the foundation gifted each of us Eddie's biography, Hawaiian Sun. So immediately after that meeting, I took the book home and I read it. And so when I recognized how important Pawakalani was to Eddie, it's a lot of pressure, right? Like, I gotta make this good. I gotta make sure it represents that. It was interesting to see how Eddie goes from this ukulele virtuoso to a filmmaker to this archivist of Hawaiian history and culture. So in my piece, I wanted to put some of those nods to Eddie Kamae, Uncle Eddie. So in my piece, I did use like the open strings of the ukulele, the GCEA, the "my dog has fleas" thing.
That was really, I had to listen to it a couple times to really.
When you said that, now I get it. I'd have to listen to it again. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was really clever. It was, it was really striking.
Thank you.
I thought, the person that was sitting next to me plays ukulele, has played ukulele for 30 years, and he said, "Did you get that? Did you hear what he just did?" I said, "Well, could you tell me?" No, but I did hear it, but I wanted it reinforced. And that was a really beautiful way to come into that song.
I think, that question is really interesting, and I wonder, can I call you Uncle Ocean?
Yeah, you can call me anything you want.
No, so
other people have called me Grandpa already. So.
Okay.
That's a true story.
So this idea of taking something that's so beloved to so many people and maybe changing it in a way that, like changing, you cannot go too far. But in a band setting, like the Sons of Hawaii, what would that process be when you folks are thinking about how you want to record Ku'upui Pawakalani?
First, to actually hear about your thought process on trying to arrange something like that. For me, I'm always amazed at people that can do that. And the reason I say that is because I cannot read music, but I appreciate, the work that goes into it. And just now, when you just was saying how you took the pam 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 pam, and And I don't know where it is in the song, but just from that, in knowing how it's tuned, I can already hear how it flows already. And that's without reading the music, but understanding the notes. Because right there, ba, 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 and you can go right from there. Right there. Wow, shit, I never thought about it like that. Until you just now, when you just broke it down. So getting back to what you just asked about music, I think Eddie was the only one who could read. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. Joe Marshall could read music. No, you know what? I take that back. Dennis could read music too. And why do I say that? Because Dennis was in the band. Joe Marshall was in the band when he was at Kamehameha. And Eddie being the ukulele player and playing in some of those, you know, as a virtuoso, when he was given the lead sheet, you know, you hear the story. In giving the lead sheet for Pawakalani, not knowing anything, just understanding that if he was given a lead sheet, that he could read music. For myself and a lot of other guys that played with Eddie, we've never read music. So now we're going to talk about arrangements, and it's really interesting because when you look at something that's charted, like on an arrangement, you don't need to be there. Nobody needs to be there. They can just look at it and say, okay, and if they can read music, they can do it. For those that are versed in that arena, it's a good foundation, I think, to start from. But now we're going to start arranging things. So because we don't, or for me, I don't read music, even to this day, a lot of times I might play a chord or two that does fit, but I might delay it just because of how it feels at that particular time. So if I was to do it as it was charted, a lot of times it's metered. Now I'm going to look at that thing and say, nah, I'm going to slide this one and I'm going to put them in right before the end of the measure. And they went, what? For example, you can. Take a gentle breeze upon my name. It's easy to go to the minor because I don't read music. I depend a lot on my ear. Take a gentle breeze, it breeze upon my name. Now I do this. That's one whole different progression instead of the minor. It's related somehow. Don't ask me how. I don't know whose cousin or second removed or whatnot, but or even this one. And still come back. So melodically, it sounds nice, but people said, "Hey, that's not how it's written." Okay, I'm sorry, I don't read music, right? No, so when it comes to arrangements, a lot of times it's just by feel and playing. Is it just playing, having a good time, and somebody gonna hit one chord, they go like, "Wait, what chord you playing?" I said, "What? Yeah, I like that chord." I said, "Yeah, but that's not the chord that we know it. But wow, I like that chord." Just like a diminish, for example, if I was to do this diminish. This one. Diminish. Now I do this one. There's only one note difference. But wow, hey, what chord is that? Yeah, that sounds nice. And maybe it's because of not reading music, or more so, for me, it's kind of a personal thing. Not necessarily putting my influence on the music. But when I say my personal thing, is if you have ethnomusicologists in the room or whatnot, I might do something like this. just to make them do this. Just to make them turn their head. And when they turn their head, you just kind of laugh, and then you just kind of keep going. And
lucky thing, no more ethnomusicologists here.
no, but
just made the
but for people
disclaimer.
that write arrangements, they're writing it with a certain mentality, with a certain idea in mind. So, and I'm not sure if you're one of those where you write as you write in the arrangement, you hear the arrangement before you pen it. I'm not like that, because I don't read music. So because I don't read music, as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, hey, you know, where can I go with this? And it just...
It's by your feel, right? Just the feeling.
And that's all it is. A lot of time it's feel.
Yeah.
And a lot of time when Eddie would play, you know, being fortunate in watching him play, sitting next to him when he plays, when he starts doing something nice and you see him close his eyes and his head goes back, you don't know what chord he's going to hit next, because it just comes and you just got to go with it. Yeah.
So your arrangement of Paukuleni was written for a particular group of students, right, to play and whatnot, but I'm sure that if you were given the liberty that you might actually be doing something similar to Ocean and kind of finding places to add your feel, yeah?
I see. So depending on the groups you're writing for, older kids might be able to do more things, younger kids might be limited in some aspects. I'm not sure what you thought of the piece, but when I was writing for this grade 3 advanced middle school, beginning high school group, I did try to throw in a couple of questionable harmonies, a couple of stranger moments. Sometimes when I'm charting out a piece, like, you know, you plan out where you want to go, the direction it takes. Maybe you're trying to work out a chord, so you change one note, kind of makes you chuckle to yourself. Like telling yourself a joke and you laugh at it, right? And it's just like, I'll put that inside there, see what happens. And from what I heard, you guys made it work.
Yeah, it still worked.
So thank you for that. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same thing, you know. I'm gonna move this note down half a step just because.
Yeah, just
because, and you can see people going, what? Then you kind of, like you said, you just kind of laugh about it.
But I think what John was saying too, though, you know, we keeping the parameters, because our vision for this project, for the concert band portion, was not that it's going to be played by bands only in Hawaii. It's going to be able to play, you know, on the mainland. We just finished a performance in Chicago at a Midwest Band and Orchestra conference, and so we handed out a lot of the cards that had Eddie Kamae's songbook on there. And at that convention, you know, people were there were bands from Japan, there were bands from Lithuania. So this music was really meant to go beyond our shores. And so trying to, you know, make sure that we keep it fun, but we also represent, you know, our culture here and do it so that other people can do it.
So talk a little bit about your experience now that you've gotten a little bit of a taste of, you know, maybe Ocean will play again.
Sure. I'm glad I didn't ask about parameters. After the meeting at Chozenji, I went home and I listened to the recording of Eddie Kamae singing Hey Ha Waipio. And then I went to the lyrics and read the lyrics in English and went back to the recording several times, trying to decipher the story that was going on from the lyrics and really trying to see if there was any inflections that he might have put in his singing or musically what was going on. And it was a little bit of a challenge because in He Ha Waipio, there's a reference in the story that's not very straightforward. It brings up some biblical names in there. And I had to ask, and luckily I knew several performers, and I asked them, what's the kauna behind this verse? What's the story behind what's going on? So they said, let me ask. And they came back to me and they said, there was a little bit of drama going on in
She's
what
like
was
nodding.
But upon initial reading of it, I really didn't understand what was going on. I asked my wife, what is this reference? She goes, those are biblical names. I'm like, biblical names in the story? I don't get it. And then luckily through several people I asked, and they kind of gave me the backstory of what was going on. So from that, I was able to think of how this storyline was evolving, what was going on. And I tried to just paint a picture of this entire story musically, thinking of more like a movie that would go on. So the beginning is kind of the opening where you rise up and you see from an aerial view of this town of Waipio and its grand and all its beautiful grandeur and scenic view. And then slowly the camera comes down and focuses in on the town and then the house of where the people in the story are going to move back to. And so everything in the arrangement, I try to just depict musically of what the lyrics were talking about. So like the passing showers of the rains going through, they're fishing as they're pulling up fish by hand, to the little pilikia that's going on around them, that they're snipping and sniping, and then focusing on the couple who are getting married, and the community comes back around with the support and love for them, and everybody's happy in the end as you just kind of fade out of the town of Waipio. So I tried to make it more of like a movie soundtrack.
And then you threw a pa'ani in there too.
I did.
Yeah.
I did a play section in tradition of arrangements like the Royal Hawaiian Band. In between verses, there's a section where the band will play, take the melody and play something, usually in a swing fashion, hapahaole style. That was because of my experience with the Royal Hawaiian Band. I thought we'd do something like that. And in the original recording, Eddie Kamae is playing a solo. He takes a couple solos between verses, and I said, okay, in homage to that, we'll throw something, and also from the historical point of Royal Hawaiian Band, put that into the arrangement to try to keep it somewhat of Hawaii tradition.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that part of it. Yeah.
The stories of how they arrange these songs are so interesting, has so much dimension to it and so much thinking through of, you know, what the song means. And I'm just really excited to hear this part of it. And I mean, I knew they were beautiful, but now they're even more beautiful to hear the story that goes around how you did it.
Yeah, so listening to both of their stories, when I remember the Paukalani, right, I can actually see what Reed, I can actually see what he's saying, how he did different things, how he threw different things in, sort of the kolohe piece of it, right? And then as I was watching Todd, he was very pastoral during this interview. So so when you started talking about the movie and everything, I actually saw the movie, right? So, and that's sort of the feeling that you want to get. I know there are a lot of different versions of He Waipio, and I thought your version was at least played by the band, Na Ulu Winds of UH West Oahu. It was just really very lovely, and Kala'i Stern was just the right singer for that evening. Yeah.
You know what is the beauty of a lot of the music, and even with Myrna calls it the anti-Myrna version, you know, because just to make it simple for those the novice players to be able to play. For me, whether it be the anti-Myrna version or even any kind of version, Lili Wokalani's version, if you look at a lot of it is real simplistic. And the beauty in that, especially our Hawaiian music, the beauty in it is less is more a lot of times. But more so, because of that, how simple it is, it does leave space for all of that other things to take place, and that's the purpose. By keeping it simple, it opens it up for the lead singer to do what they want, take it where they want. It opens it up for instrumentalists, for other types of movement within the song, because there's so much space in it. And that wouldn't happen if it was so busy to begin with. So by being simple, keeping it open, it opens up a whole new arena for possibilities, like how you were saying, it's meant to go worldwide, so Lithuania, Japan, and whatnot. You get 8 bars from this chord to this chord, but chain that 8 bars, small injections here and there can take it to a whole new dimension. And just from one chord, from one major to another 7, so that's awesome to hear. Like I said, I don't read music, but I can understand through the conversation what it does, how it opens it up.
How do you make selections about what part of the band is playing? Because I've been to several rehearsals now and performances and whatnot, and I just find that the orchestration of it, listening to the strings is one thing, but then listening to all the different pieces of the band, how do you do that? Especially, now that you have this open space, how do you think about that?
For myself, I think certain instruments convey or have an easier time conveying certain types of emotions, like the power and strength of the brass, or the sweetness of the flute, and the oboe, and the clarinet, and the subtlety that a saxophone can bring in. So in one of the verses, it's talking about the couple together, the husband and wife to be. And I thought maybe a kind of a nice combination to that would be like the oboe and the saxophone playing together. One softer voice, one a little bit more powerful voice, but playing together in unison kind of shows the unity of the marriage.
What did you do with the chattering piece? I'm trying to figure out where that happened.
That was easy. You put in the trumpets because they're usually pretty snarky. Actually, I put mutes on the trumpets and the trombones, and they're playing a sort of similar ostinato. So it's like da 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 da, and the trombone da 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 da, and just kind of goes back and forth behind the melody. So you just hear this a little bit of, gnawing away. That was just a personal view on that. I don't know. How about you?
What I like about concert bands and wind ensembles is that there are so many different combinations of instruments that sound different together, but at the same time, there are families of the same instrument that can be found in the same group. For instance, you might want to write something where a member of the woodwind family and the brass family, maybe percussionists and some other folks are also playing together. It all sounds a little bit different. But in these big, powerful moments, if you have your 20 clarinet players kind of playing the same line, it really reinforces and gives it this strong color, like this really lush sound. So when I was piecing together my arrangement, I was giving thought to, do I want instruments that sound similar to one another playing in this section? Like, what effect does that have? At the very end of the piece, the last 2, I put essentially everybody playing the same rhythms, just with this wall of sound, just to get, that final point across. And this is, orchestration is something that's studied by everybody for a really, really long time. There's no right or wrong way to do it, I would say. But that was kind of my thoughts behind it.
Yeah, that's right. At the end of Paukalin, there is a wall of sound. It's just, this is powerful. It's just kind of overwhelming. Just like, coming at you. Look at Chad's, the maestro, the coordinator, bringing this all together. So when you're given the music, how do you think about this, Chad? How, where do you, your professionalism, your expertise, your feeling, Where does that come into putting this all together?
Well, I think the first thing that I'm trying to make sure is that going through the score, that technically that the ensemble can do it. Where we're going to have some problems as far as rhythms or where the phrases are and things like that, and where we want to, where the composer had highlighted the melody is going to be here and then the other parts are going to be below it. So where we're going to balance these things. So, and then the second part is just calling these people to say, hey, what did you mean to do here? They're the ones that are the experts on this, and so calling them to find out, okay, how can we make it sound like what they wanted to be in? So Todd's been into several of the rehearsals. Reed came to several of the rehearsals and gave us his feedback too, and so. The only regret I have is that we just don't have a lot of rehearsal time. We have 2 hours once every week, so we didn't have much time to go back and forth about these kind of things.
It goes back to that question that John had asked
asking, yeah.
About arrangements. So when you have a group, a trio or a quartet, it's easy to come up with things on the fly because of the closeness, and we can have that conversation quick. I understand when you need to chart out music, you need to have an arrangement, because when you have like the Royal Hawaiian Band and you have all of these musicians, you cannot have the conversation on the fly like that. So everybody, this is the roadmap, follow the roadmap, and we're gonna get there. I'm sure they can speak for when one person said, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna do this," and then just everything just goes sideways. I mean, just like 4-part harmony or barbershop stuff, everybody needs to be tight. I mean, especially with harmonies, that's only a half note apart. So we call it "stay in your lane." Stay in your lane, because it's easy to hear somebody and then all of a sudden you say, "Oh, stay in your lane." So going back to your question about how it comes out, for, like I said, a trio or quartet, it's easily to have that conversation real quick versus one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we had over 100 people on stage in Chicago playing He Hawaii Pi'o.
Oh, it must have sounded awesome.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, that's a lot of folks to got to stay in their lane.
Oh, yeah. No, so earlier we talked about, how it's arranged and how we would play it sometimes. A good example about that is Hina Hina Kuka Hakai. So, to stay on the meter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. When you play with Eddie, so he would do that. So when you would play them, other people would hear it on meter from playing with him and hearing how it would be prolonged and come in later. Oh man, when I hear it that way, so especially with the bass, on there. So it's offered that. And then, so wait, what? Wait, what? Oh, was I early? Yes, you were. I said, no, but that's off meter. No worry about the meter.
No worry.
Right.
I was wondering about just so the He Hawaii Pi'o recording that I grew up with was the Sunday Manoa, Peter Moon, which goes quick. Right? And Uncle Eddie recorded his, much more lilting. And that's the one
That was my influence.
Yeah.
That was the way Sam Leah wanted it to be done.
Yeah. So amazing.
Yeah, I grew up the same way. Being introduced to that song in intermediate school, that way. you know, through the Sunday Manoa. And then hearing it later with Auntie Nina singing it. And a lot more, then of course playing with Eddie and it.
But it was a very engaging arrangement. Their arrangement was, the Sunday Manoa was a good one.
Years ago, I was looking for music, so I ended up having this conversation with Uncle Bill Kaiwa. And so he was sharing some music with me and whatnot, and so he showed me, he played for me Ahilau Makani. So I became familiar with Ahilau Makani through Eddie's recording, you know, as a kid growing up. So when Uncle Bill started to sing it, I said, I know this song, but wow, kind of slowed it down and it was really nice. It was more lullaby type, especially being in 3/4 time. It was more lullaby type. I went, wow, Uncle, that's nice. See, the arrangements that I know is a little bit more upbeat and driving. This is the comment he makes to me. The Queen doesn't write rock and roll. And I went, wow.
It wasn't rock and roll. It was, Eddie thought it had the sound of the Mexican sound, and that was the sound that he heard for that music.
Right, and you know, I consider myself very, very fortunate and very lucky to have conversations with him and play with him. And, you know, in asking him questions, hey, why that meter? Why that tempo? He was really, really interested in rhythms and different types of beats when he was younger, and that kind of stayed with him. Yeah, a lot of that stuff when he was playing with his partner, with
Shoei.
Yeah.
Shoei.
Shoei.
Ikimi. When he first started playing, Eddie played everything but Hawaiian music.
Right.
Yeah, and then once he met Gabby and they sat down and started playing, then he realized the dimensions the music had, and then he felt it was the most difficult music he ever played because of all the different nuances and the story and all that it had to, all that it needed to bring with it to tell the story and to find a way to make the music live on.
Wow, well, that's absolutely beautiful what you just said, Berna, and I think that's going to be one of our final lines for today. Is about how Eddie's talent really came together, focusing on Hawaiian music and reminding us that it is about the story, right? And it's through the story, the painting of the story, that the music, which is informed by this place that we live in, lives on. Right? If you don't mind, I'm going to ask everybody to share their final thought with us. Okay. Read. Final thoughts, lessons learned, what's next?
When I was growing up, I'll be frank, Hawaiian music was the stuff you heard at the airport. It's the stuff that I heard on my grandpa's radio, driving down wherever we were going to. It definitely was not something we had in band class. It wasn't something that we had in the schools at the time, even to the extent that we have it now. It just wasn't there. So when I joined the Royal Hawaiian Band 5-ish years ago, that was kind of my first taste of, like this music can be put to this format that I grew up with and that I'm really familiar with. And more than that, there's, it just offers more like of a connection to the people who play it. Surely, if you're playing the music that you grew up around, if you're playing the music that, represents where you're from, like you have more of that connection. So thank you for letting me be a part of this project. I hope to see more of these kinds of arrangements, not just from the University of West Oahu, but like other places as well, like maybe band directors writing their own stuff, other composers writing their own stuff. It would be cool to see more of that. So I'm glad to have been a part of this process.
Thank you, Reed.
Well, I'm just grateful. I just have a lot of gratitude to Myrna and Chancellor for allowing this, making this happen and helping us to give this project wings. I think one of the big things I really valuing for this project is the accessibility for bands, and maybe not for just for bands, but it's for people that are going to be in the ensemble that's going to take the next step. And then going to go and research, and they're going to maybe get interested in playing ukulele. They're going to listen to, they're going to listen to the Sons of Hawaii. Or they're going to come and they're going to learn about the culture in here. And that's what the whole process of this whole thing was about, is getting this out there so that the world can get familiar and be able to play something and then hopefully spark that interest. And so thank you for allowing us to be a part of it.
Oh, well said, Dr. Kamae. Well said. Todd.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Dr. Kamae said, I'm thrilled to be part of this program, and I love the fact that we're able to present this music to the world. And we have the internet. People can download this music and share it with their community all over the world. It's pretty auspicious, so I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you all.
Well, thank you for the Hawaii PO. It was an honor to hear it in the large stage in Chicago, and what a great opportunity. The first Hawaiian mele to be played in that very prestigious, what I understood was the Olympics of band and orchestra conventions. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Congratulations.
John?
Yes, so I just want to thank you, Chancellor, and you, Auntie Myrna, for supporting this project. And Reed and Todd, just thank you so much for your contributions. And Chad for being so kolohe, bringing this project and so many more. You are a powerhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, he's already coming
you.
back for more stuff.
And Uncle Ocean, thank you for your just being here. I think hearing about your living work in this art form we call Hawaiian music, and that is my hope, that this project can inspire people to dig deeper. We didn't even talk about the pu'olo, that for each mele has been lovingly researched, and so deeply so that and each of these arrangements are paired. In that folder is a pu'olo. So each of the users of these arrangements can at least have it, can go back to the website and continue that learning journey that I think, it's not just about notes on a page, it's about learning, living and breathing that music and letting it be.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because this is more for educators and teachers, researchers and students. And your work is actually a teaching tool, and which is extremely important, and was important it was important to Eddie. It's very important to you, I know. So Ocean, you get to say the last word.
Oh. Gee, I don't need that kind of pressure.
Yes, you get to play us out, as they say.
When I caught wind of that project, I had a number of conversations with Myrna about this project, and I had some mixed feelings about it because of knowing how guarded Eddie was with his music, and for good reason. But even in many conversations that I would have with Eddie at different times, and I think I'm not sure what film it was in, he did say it's a different time. it's a different time. So I've gotten over it, but the mixed feeling was, how is it going to be out there, just put out there for anybody to access, knowing how guarded Eddie was. But I'm glad it is, because there's no excuse now. And if it's not out there, then hey, maybe it would have been gone with Eddie. So I'm glad it is out there. And for me, it's easy for me to go in and pull up some of the stuff, you know, through the Pu'olo and whatnot. And it's, I think it's a great project, and I hope people take advantage of it, because
it's growing.
Yeah.
So mahalo to everybody for the time that you spent with us today. On behalf of the Hawaiian Legacy Foundation, Myrna and Eddie, mahalo for the work that you've contributed, and I know you all will contribute much more in your lifetime to not only Eddie and Myrna's songbook, but to Hawaiian music. So mahalo.